on video. Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome back to another webinar. This is the webinar from Thomas Keel. I think you know who I am. I hope you know who I am. If not, I'm an earlier teacher for the Delphian School for many, many years. And then about 7, 8 years ago, I came over to work in admissions. So I get to travel the world in most times to introduce the school. So today is the last in our series of webinars from a learning guide called Who Makes the World Run? A beautiful learning guide that essentially has the purpose to get you thinking about, who makes the world run, to gain familiarity with the kinds of interchanges between people that keep the world running. And we kind of open up your mind and get you thinking about this. We're using, of course, the learning guide called Who Makes the World Run? I'm sure you've printed one, I hope, or I've had it. And we're using this study guide here as well, okay? And if you don't have it printed or you didn't have access to it, no problem, because I will be reading through each of the sections with you and then giving you some assignments to do as a result. We'll give a minute as everybody kind of signs on right now. I'm hoping that you will follow along closely with me. And then, of course, when I give you an assignment, please put your answers into the question and answer box, and then I'll share those with everybody and give you some feedback on what I see and what I hear from you. By the way, if you're new to this webinar today, or you didn't catch the earlier 3, I think, that we've done on this Who Makes the World Run, you can always go onto our YouTube channel. That's the Delphian School YouTube channel. You can see all of our webinars there. They get up there within the next day usually, or faster. You can spot all of them that I've done. You can spot any in the area of science and music, writing, etc., and just fill in what you didn't get to do before. And of course, you can have the learning guide with you as you go along, and you can share anything you want from today's webinar, including there's going to be a final assignment that you're going to do on your own, which I won't be able to stick around for, and you can share that with me at events@delphian.org. Okay, well, let's get on with it, okay? Let's get on with the first of our assignments for the day here. Here we go, okay? So we're going to go over the last section here today. I forgot my glasses, what do you know? So this will be a good challenge for me, of course, and I can read and I will read. So we're gonna go over the last section here of the book. Every section, I might summarize 1 or 2 small paragraphs, but for the most part, we're gonna cover it all because I think it's pretty exciting and pretty interesting to read. All right, so we're gonna cover electricity. Electricity. So you have electricity at your house, question mark. How does this happen? Imagine for a moment that the electricity to your house was turned off, and it wasn't just temporary, but gone for good, or at least for a very long time. You may have experienced a brief power outage before and been forced to think about this. But even if you have, let's take a very brief look at the first hour or so of a day and list a few of the things you might use that probably depend on electricity. Temperature in your bedroom, alarm clock, lights, warm hot water, hair dryer, hot breakfast food, cold breakfast food, fresh fruit or other food refrigerated to keep it from spoiling, toast, music, computer, and on and on and on. We don't say cell phone here. Oh, here it comes. Phone, like our cell phone today, garage door, etc., etc. A lot of things we need for electricity the moment we get up just to get our day launched well. Of course, some of these things can be supplied by other means than electricity, but many cannot. It is pretty easy to see that lack of electricity would make even the first hour of your day quite a bit less comfortable. So we can be glad that we have electricity, right? But let's stop and ask a few questions about it, such as what's going on behind those wall plugs, or why do we have electricity available here? Where does it come from? How does it get here? The answers to these questions lead us to a whole new team of people who are getting electricity to your home, school, and other places you go. Okay, so believe it or not, that's the end of our first little reading section. It's a small one. So we're going to pull off here. Now, I'm going to go to the question and answer in just a minute. What I would like to do, though, first is tell you your next assignment real quickly. So here we go. If you have the check sheet, if you have the learning guide printed, great. So the activity is find and write down 3 to 5 more conveniences that you like to use during the day that would be impossible or very difficult to use without electricity. So we gave several examples in the thing that we just read. But look around your room. It might be the same ones. It might be ones that weren't listed. Find and tell me several, 3 to 5, more conveniences that you would like to use during the day that would be impossible or very difficult to use without electricity. Okay, so let's go into the question and answer here. And I'm looking for your assignments. And then we will talk about them and read them out loud, okay? Okay, so first of all, Isis, great on doing the homework. Can you send it to me if you want at events.delphian.org? That would be great. Yeah, Isis, this is the last one for this topic. We're going to be doing webinars next week. I have one slot that I'm supposed to do. I just have to figure out what I'm going to cover because we'll be done with this material there. Hello, Hartley. Nice to see you. Please give my best and hello to your mom and dad since I know them personally. All right, AJ says electric mixers. Excellent. Very, very good, AJ. And can you come up with a couple of more? What are a couple more things around you that require electricity, the convenience of electricity to survive? Milo. Hello, Milo. Nice to see you again, by the way, or nice to hear from you again. Says refrigerator, TV, phone, and computer. Excellent. All those things. I hope you don't use your TV too much early in the morning, but definitely the refrigerator, definitely the phone and computer if you haven't finished your homework quite yet before you go to school. Lamp, says AJ. A lamp, excellent. And AJ also says electric keyboard. All of those are great. AJ, do you play the piano? Just sort of curious. You said electric keyboard. If that's something that you play or your parents or somebody in your family plays, I'd be very, very curious. Personally, I'm not a big musician. My son is, but I do play the drums. Olivia says the toaster. Agreed there. Agreed. Ah, excellent, AJ. Thank you. So Olivia says the toaster. Hartley, nice to hear from you again. Electric, stove, or oven. True. Electric stove or oven. And what else, Hartley? What else around you are conveniences that you have that you need electricity for? We don't think about it every day, but they're plugged in and we need it. Excellent, AJ, that you do play the electric piano. I love it. Madison says, stove, computer, the light for my lizard to keep him warm. That's very good, actually. Very, very important. I have a funny story about that kind of a light. One time that had so much electricity and so much heat, it got set on the carpet and burnt a little hole in my carpet many, many years ago. Those lights are very powerful and very important for their warmth. AJ says the microwave. Agreed. And it takes electricity and turns it into a different kind of ray. All right, says Ethan, a CD player. These classes, very, very good. The connection for my system, for your system, wouldn't work without electricity. A CD player, blenders, a fridge, a stove, all excellent answers, Ethan. And AJ adds in there a washer, dryer, as well as a dishwasher. I love your answers. You know, it's all very true. There's so many things around us. We shouldn't take it for granted, but if we just look, how many things require electricity in our home for our conveniences? Hartley says air conditioning, definitely needed in Atlanta when it heats up, although I heard it was colder this week as I was on a Zoom call on Sunday with some folks from Atlanta. Air conditioning or a fan or heating, all very true. AJ also says a fan. Great answer, guys. Olivia, electric car, stove, and fridge. Yes, very, very true, Olivia. All of those things need electricity. It's really fascinating. I think about it today. I woke up, I needed my computer, needed electricity. I needed my cell phone, electricity. I use, of course, the lights in my house. Then I went down and I had made my morning shake, so a blender. In the microwave, I warmed up some coffee. Really shouldn't have, but I had extra, so I did. Had I used fresh coffee, it would have been my electric water heater that warms the water. If you think about it, many, many, many things. Then I came into my home office, had to turn on my computer, turn on the lights, and here I am today in this room with you. Lights are on, camera's rolling, the computer's rolling. All of these things take electricity. All right, let's do a couple more, and then we'll move on to the next assignment. So Madison says washer, dryer. Exactly. The doorbell. Hello, Isis. Let's see. You have audiobooks on your sister's iPad. That's right. I wouldn't have cold milk without a refrigerator. I also wouldn't be able to do piano class without electricity and light. I don't want to sit in the dark. I also need the family phone to do a ton of things such as classes, learning new languages, and calling my friend. All very, very true. AJ has an electric toothbrush, and he needs that as well with electricity. Okay, great, guys. So we're going to move on to the next section. I'm now going to read the next section, step 11 on the check sheet. And if there are more examples, I'll pick them up when we come back in. Okay, guys? So here we go to read a little bit more from this material, Who Makes the World Run? All right, so installing electrical wires. This is a little bit of a longer section, by the way. Let's start with the electrician who put all the electrical wires in your house. The job of putting in electrical wires is called wiring. And one of the main things an electrician does is wire buildings and homes when they are being built. It's pretty obvious that by wiring your house or apartment building, the electrician did something that helped you. But if you think about it, it would be quite possible to do a very sloppy job of wiring a house so that the wiring would cause various problems, such as failing to carry electricity properly or causing a fire. Yikes. Did your electrician do a good job just because he was a good guy? Well, maybe, but there's a lot more to the story than that. Some earlier electricians came up with wiring rules to make their wiring safer and more desirable. They wanted to make sure they had a good reputation and would get hired. They were doing this to help themselves get work, but by doing this, they did something that helped you and the rest of us. Laws for electrical wiring. But a set of rules like this might not be the same in different places, and some rules might not be as good as others. Wouldn't it be better for all of us if there was a really firm set of rules that was used everywhere? That's exactly what happened when lawmakers got involved in order to keep their jobs and help the people who voted for them. Lawmakers collected up all the best information on wiring and made official laws and rules for how wiring should be done. Then they required all electricians to learn them and follow them. So, besides the electricians, the lawmakers are another group that help make your electricity available and safe. Pretty amazing to think about, huh? Pretty amazing to think about. More of the electrical wire team. So up to here, we've discussed only house wiring, and we haven't even discussed all the folks that made the wires available, such as the miners. They dig up the rock and copper. The refiners, who do the job of getting the amounts of copper out of the rock. The people who make the wires. The people who transport the wires by train, truck, jet, or ship. The people who sell the wires. These people are also part of your Get Electricity team, and they are definitely providing you a service, even if they think they are just earning a living. So now, a little section called Why Jobs Exist. Everybody we have talked about and everybody we will talk about are just doing their jobs, which is a very simple way to put it. But why do these jobs exist? Every job exists because someone wants the product or result of that job and is willing to trade or exchange something for it. In other words, jobs exist because both sides get what they want. The person doing the job gets something, usually money, and the person who wanted the product or result gets something, the product or result he or she paid for. I'll give it to you again here. Consider the job of one of the miners mentioned above, though many, many steps in between you and your family traded with the miner. The miner got something wanted, probably money, and you got wiring in your house. Jobs and exchanges like these lead to the creation of things and ideas that people want. And these new or better things and ideas add improvements to our culture. That's the way it works. Everybody contributes something by producing something a person can exchange with others. And in a way, we all also contribute by wanting the things others create. So it's the give and take here, right? We create something others want, and others have created something that we want. As a result of all these millions and millions of exchanges back and forth, both the creators and the users are helped. Society gets stronger, and the culture gradually develops. We have come a long way from caveman days. And that caveman reference goes all the way back to one of the earlier webinars when we were talking about the wheel and the invention of the wheel that started way back in the caveman days, okay? All right, so now that finishes that section. So let's go back to your question and answer, and I will give you the next assignment, as well as catch up. And Tom gave an example. Tom gave an example of computer and phones. Might have been something else there, but it didn't come through clearly, Tom, so I'm so sorry if I missed something. All right, so here comes the next activity. This is step 12 on your little learning guide if you have it. Think of two other parts of the wiring in your house. Think of two other parts of the wiring in your house team that weren't mentioned. Things that needed to be done or created to make it possible for you to have a safely wired house. For each one, name one or two jobs that probably exist to make that happen. And write out a little bit about the exchanges that would probably occur in getting these jobs done. This can have something to do with yourself or your family or, someone, your friend that you know, if that's appropriate. So what are we looking for? We're trying to expand from the ideas of what we talked about. There's the miners, there's the wiring, but you have power plants, you have the poles outside, You have, if you look closely, you have the different wiring inside the house. You have the little plates that go on the surface. You have so many things that are involved. So think of 2 other parts of the wiring in your house of this team that weren't mentioned. Things that needed to be done or created to make it possible for you to have a safely wired house. For each one, name a job or 2 that probably exist to make that happen, and discuss a little bit the exchange that's there. So what's that job? What do they give to you? What do you give back to them, or your mom, or your dad? Okay? So now we'll look for your answers coming in. And this is Ethan, says the guys that thought of the ideas for the wires. Very good. So they made the invention originally, right? What is this wire? How's it going to work? How thick is it? How will it process and transfer electricity? The guys who started the company agreed, either the wiring company or the power plant or any company, the inventor or entrepreneur that started any company, quite frankly. All right, so now shoot in your answers and I'll be patient and wait for them to come, my friends. So from here, we're going to do this example, read another good section, and then do another assignment, and then I'm going to give you the wrap-up assignment as well. So depending on your examples and how much interaction we have here, hopefully we'll finish either on schedule or just a little bit early today, okay? Okay, so Harley says the guys who wired and connected the wires. Yeah, so now you mean inside your house, the internal wiring of your house. Exactly. You know, and maybe you have in your house a home electronic system, or some people that are successful enough have a home theater there, right? Where everything's kind of in the walls. Some people have a security system, both in their house and monitoring the outside part of their house. What else? Well, you could walk around your house and see what other things you have as you look at the walls and you look at the machinery and different things in there to see. So Isis says, a scientist would have to discover how to make the wire. The original invention of it. Excellent. How to make it go to the switch and from the switch to the light bulb. Yes, now we're talking about Edison days or before or shortly after, right? The invention of light through, or the realization of light through electricity, right? And how to control that electricity in some way to create the light. Not to mention then how to make it all wired. And Harley says the guys who connected, yep, the wires, I got that, right? Excellent. So those are 2 examples that I just shared and just read. All right, so who else has an example? Try to get creative. Look around your house right now and look for additional members of that team that somehow are involved in the electricity coming to your home, or if not just coming, once it's in your home, getting from some central part in your home to the wall outlet or to the appliance or to the place and way that you use it. And then how is it exchanged for? Does your family pay money for this? Did the person come and do the wiring and you gave them lunch? I'm kidding, right? But maybe you gave them lunch or a bread basket or some flowers, or you actually just paid money for the charge that they did for their work. Madison says, the people who built my house that put the wires in the house. Excellent. And what's the exchange? So they gave you the house, they gave you the wiring. What'd you give back to them? Just money? Goodwill? Maybe you gave them referrals. If not you, your parents. Maybe they did such a good job, you love the house so much, you referred other people to them. Milo says, getting rubber from trees and refining it. Ooh, that's excellent, Milo. The jobs would be maybe the person collects it and then sends it to a refinery and then installs it to the outside of the wires. Excellent. We need the wires to be insulated. And now we're talking about the rubber around them so that they stay safe and the electricity isn't exposed to being shocked or lost when it's being transferred from point A to point B. Money, says Milo, right? Madison too, money. I agree with all of you. Most of the time it is money, which we've touched upon, right? In the old days, it used to be a barter system where I had something physical and I gave it to you, and in return, you gave it to me. Isis says I'm frozen. Uh-oh. Don't know if that's true. I look like I'm moving here, and if I were frozen, I think James would fix it. I hope that I'm unfrozen for you, Isis. AJ, the people that created the hammers, nice, and chisels, so that the miners could find copper. Excellent. And today, I think, when you think about mining, right, it's gone way beyond little hammers and chisels. We have giant machines that produce that same result now. Excuse me. Big machines that produce that result. All right, AJ says the people that created the hammers and chisels. Yes, we just said that. I didn't erase it. Okay, good, Isis. I'm happy that we're all good and all connected. Okay, so any more examples that anybody wants to share? Here come a couple more. Madison said the people that fix the electricity when the power goes out, when there's a hurricane or other things. That's very good, actually. So now we had it, but we don't have it. And in an emergency, hopefully as quick as possible, these folks will come and reconnect the wiring or pick the pole up if the pole fell over because of a storm. And this is vital, vital, vital so that the electricity keeps moving. It's amazing, you know, I have to say in my life, several times I've been without electricity. Very rare, but maybe a half dozen times or more, and always for a few hours to a day, maybe a day and a half. And it is tough. It is really amazing and tough to imagine how hard it is to live without this simple source of energy. Okay, well, let's go to the next and final, pardon me, guys, my nose has a little itch. So let's go to the final section, and then if you have more answers coming in, I'll definitely share them with the group when we come back. Okay, so here we go. We'll sign that off. Step 12, we did. So 2 more steps to do, and then we've got a final assignment to discuss. But what about the electricity? So once a house or a building has been wired, it still doesn't have electricity until someone brings electricity to that wiring. Where does it come from and how does it happen? And we've been discussing this a little bit, right? Some of you that may have done my class when I first started a couple, I don't know, many weeks ago, we discussed this, and we discussed this a little bit today. The electrical energy that comes to your house is created at places called power plants. There are different kinds of power plants. Some burn coal or oil to make electricity. Some use flowing water or wind to make electricity. Some use the heat from the sun or from hot water deep in the ground. And some, called nuclear power plants, use energy contained in uranium atoms to create electrical energy. A lot of different jobs are involved in all these kinds of power plants. Okay, let's pick just one example of a plant. A power plant at a dam on a river that converts the energy from the flowing water into electricity. Building a dam on a river is a huge job or collection of jobs. Someone has to investigate the rock formations around the river to make sure the dam can be safely built. Someone has to calculate if there's enough power in the river to create as much electricity as will be needed. Somebody has to design the dam to ensure it will hold back the rushing water safely. And there are many, many more jobs to help get a dam built. How about the machinery that the water goes through to make the electricity? This involves another big team even before this dam gets started. All the past scientists and workers who figured out how electricity works and designed machines that will turn other forms of energy into electricity. All the people who manufacture the machinery that turns the flow of water into electricity. All the people who sell, transport, and install the electricity. So here we're basically talking about where electricity gets created. So many places, coal plants, electrical plants, nuclear plants, dams. But then there's all the work involved to build those facilities and then to get the electricity from that facility to your house. This is clearly becoming a really big team, but the electricity still hasn't gotten to your house yet. It might have to travel hundreds of miles to get there from the power plant. Then it has to be distributed to the buildings in your town. You can imagine that stringing wires across the country takes a lot of people doing a lot of work. Add them to your team. Hundreds, thousands, I'm saying. In your town, there is a company called the Power Company or an electrical company that has traded with all these people to get electricity to your town. And now the power company is ready to trade with you. They hook up the lines to your house and suddenly you have electricity. The power company keeps track of how much electricity you use each month, and then they send you a bill for it, or your parents. They have supplied something very valuable to you, and you exchange with them for it. All right, the last section here. Everybody plays a part. Have you ever looked closely at a beautiful, detailed spider web? I always think of Charlotte's Web when I read this or a similar question. It has many lines connecting in many, many patterns. That's sort of how this huge collection of cooperating people works. There are all these lines of exchange, all connected in a complicated pattern. So we could call this team a big web of cooperation. All these people, whether they exactly mean to or not, are cooperating with each other and you to bring electricity to you and the rest of us. And remember, this discussion was just about your electricity. Take a moment and think of other things you depend on. For instance, fresh meat or vegetables, schools, automobiles, movies, police protection, and on and on. Each one has a similar web of cooperation. It's funny to think about this right now during that time of COVID when we've kind of been in our homes a lot more than usual. And some of the things that we normally always had seemed to go out of stock, as too many people wanted something all at once. So we really have to trust and respect and love the people that continuously work hard to supply the things we need. Life goes on with things to entertain us, things to keep us safe and comfortable, things to help us learn and do things almost beyond our imagination. All of these things just seem to be there for us as long as we can afford to pay for them. In fact, there are so many of these products and services so easily available to us that we often don't even think about how lucky we are. But it isn't just luck. We happen to be living as part of a big team, each of us doing things to help ourselves and those we care about, but each of us exchanging something with others, and everybody benefits. It all adds up to our culture. Take a moment every once in a while to think of all the people on your team. It's really quite an amazing team, isn't it? And that's it. And I would answer yes. But the question goes to you. Quite a team. Amazing to think about. Okay, so we're going to catch up with the last example here from Madison. After Hurricane Irma, we didn't have electricity for a week. Wow, Madison. That's, I guess I would say, a tough time, and I'm sure there were lots of things that you were managing. And I hope your family was safe and survived and came through it well. All right, so we just are going to do the next last step. We're going to repeat step 12 that we did. So step 12 was thinking of the wiring in your house and a team and other members of the team. So now, repeating that, except this time choose some other kind of service that is useful to a lot of people. So now we're not talking about electricity. This could be water. This could be the food. This could be the gardening. This could be the building of the property itself. This could be any kinds of service or a real important physical thing that is brought to you in your life or in your home. And imagine a couple of members of the team and what needed to be done or created to bring this service or product to you to have this convenience, you might say. What is the jobs involved? You know, what was the job or function that the person had to do? And what was the exchange? Was it strictly money? Was there a barter system where your parents did something for somebody and they did something in return? What could that be, right? So think of that, if you will, and this will be a wrap up. We're going to do this as our final assignment, and then I'm going to give you verbally the final homework assignment for you to do and to share with me at events.delphian.org. All right, so we're now looking for another convenience or another service, not electricity. And how does this get to you? What are a couple of the jobs involved or functions involved, both people involved, to get this item to you as a helpful or convenient or necessary part of your life? And what's the exchange point? Is it just money? Is there some other exchange of referrals or what have you that was done? All right, so as you get your answers pouring in, I will share them with you. But I'm nothing to share yet, so I'm waiting. Water, says AJ. Excellent. Water to your house. Good. So what are some of the jobs or functions that got the water to you, and how were these exchanged for, AJ? Share that with me if you will. But it's a good example. Water is another real basic thing that we need. I mean, think about brushing our teeth, taking a shower, cooking, just drinking the water. We need, healthy, good drinking water to survive. But just think about all these things which are necessary for our living. And without them, we'd be in trouble. In fact, talking about water just made me remember I need to get some more fresh water to my house. Pipe builders, says AJ. Oh, good. So the pipe builders had to exist in order to get the water to your house. A plumber has to connect the water. Excellent. Exactly. Make sure all the pipes and all the connections are strong, and then that the water will flow to you. People who build the plastic for the pipes, AJ says. Excellent. So all three of those are great examples. So you've got the pipe builders, the plumbers that make all the connection, and then the plastic that help those pipes stay connected together. And then you also may know, AJ, that you also have a certain amount of tape or glue. And I think a lot of times it's like a glue tape that goes between the pipes when they screw them together to make that seal very strong and very, very workable. Madison says people that help get the food, the farmers, the people who make it, the people that package it, great. People that deliver it to the stores, and the people that work at the stores so you can buy it. Then I can cook it for my family. Madison, great example. Great example. There's several layers there. And actually, there's sometimes you can go to your local, if you have this in your, we do in our country, you can go to your local, I want to call it a fruit or a vegetable stand. And sometimes they'll be growing the vegetables right out back and they allow you to go, you pick it. So in that case, you've taken out a couple of these people in between, gotten it very fresh, and it's just the people that made it. Now you have the store that's selling it, and you go pick it and you buy it right at that store. AJ says, people who build the machines to purify the water. Excellent answer, right? And again, AJ says, people who build the machines to dig underneath the land to install pipes. Very good. You need some large machines, medium and large, to put the pipes into the ground. Ethan says, Pico 8 is a coding platform. It's made possible by the people who made the computers. Good. People who made the cords. Excellent. Who created the platform. There were also people who coded the platform and the people who coded the website, as well as the people who advertised for it. Excellent, AJ. We're talking something now, a little bit like we were talking about the Gap, right? A certain product that is now available, and how all the what are all the subcategories and functions that have to happen to make that product available to you. But very excellent. Coding, making the computers, making the cords, creating the platform, the program itself, the website, and the advertising for it. Once it's there, people have to know. Okay, let's get a couple more examples in here, and then we'll spend a couple of minutes discussing the final assignment, which you guys are going to have to do on your own, the homework, and I'm hoping you'll share it with me. Of course, minimally, just do it so that you can sort of complete your, the class and get a certificate for completing the class, ideally. And then if you can turn it into me, that'd be even better, because it gives me a little bit of satisfaction and joy in knowing that you did the work. And I will get back to you for each person that does it. AJ says the trash service. Very good, very good. There's the people who drive the trucks. Here comes AJ with a couple of answers. People who work in the landfill. Very true, very true. So they pick up your garbage, they work in the landfill. Excellent. Pizza, says Milo. Oh, I think I would like a good pizza. I had a piece last night from a friend who made it at their house. It was quite good. Thank you, Sterling. Pizza. Someone needs to make the dough, and another company supplies the ingredients and sells it for money, and then makes the pizza, and then delivers it to the houses. Very, very true. I hope you guys have some pizza delivery happening during this time where there's a lot of takeout. AJ says the company who builds the trucks, going back to your early example. Very true. And the people who mine the metal for the trucks. Incredible. Not just to build the trucks, but mine the metal to make things, mine the metal to, or mine the concrete to build the pipes, from the example you gave back earlier with the water, huh? So all very, very, very good examples. All right, so we've got a couple minutes here. I will keep my eye out for any more examples that come in. AJ talking about the people who build the trash cans. Very good when you're talking about the garbage run, right? Very, very good. So many things, you know, with just that simple service that are involved in getting that, in this case, getting something away from our house that we don't want, right? We have trash, let's get it away, or to bring something to our house that we really want and that we really need, right? You know, to think about that example of the water too. The water we use, some of it doesn't stay in our house, it flushes away down the drain, right? And now think about the fact of where that goes, right? Down into the drains, maybe out into the sewage, depending on the nature of what the pipe is, you know, draining from our house. And then you have all of the people that made those systems and all the people that service those systems to enable us to get rid of that from our house. So you've talked about garbage, getting rid of something, same thing on the water waste that comes from our house. All right, so let's talk about some homework here. This is your homework assignment. If you have the learning guide, which is this one, Who Makes the World Run, which we've been using the whole time, we're going to talk about the assignment on page 5. It's pretty simple and kind of exciting, and then I want you to do this assignment and then share it with me by email at events@delphian.org. And then my associate, Decasia, will send it to me and I'll answer you directly. A, choose an adult outside your school. This is someone from home or a friend, right? Who would be willing to be interviewed. This could be your grandfather, your aunt, your mother, your father. Could be a good friend. Could be someone inside your school, because if you're not in school, I don't mind if you call your teacher and interview him. Choose an adult outside your school who would be willing to be interviewed and who has spent a large part of his or her life helping make some good or service available in the world. Interview him or her, either in person or by telephone, taking notes, and ask them at least these points or these questions. You can ask them anything you want. You can answer more than what this says, but this would be the least we hope you do. Find out what the person considers his or her profession to be and what that profession makes available to society. Is it a doctor and makes available to society health benefits, right? Saving lives or giving people healthy lives. Find out as many other professions as you can that the person considers are important to contributing to him or her achieving these results. So for the doctor, what else does he rely upon? Or if it was a plumber, what does he consider his job? What is the service or product he produces? And who does he rely on to get that done? Try to find out for each contributing person both what the profession is, so what's the job, and what the person you're interviewing thinks these professions contribute to the world. Okay, so it's very simple. So find someone outside your school. They're a professional. They provide some product or service. They own some company. Find out what he considers that profession or service or product is. What is the company? What does it do? How does he help society? Find out what other products or services or people he relies upon and able to get his results. And try to find out what those jobs or professions are that he works with. So B is simply write up your results in detail and tell anything about the interview that you found interesting. So it's not just a fact. Summarize it for me. What did you find interesting about the interview? What did you find interesting about the person? Anything that you learn or that you can take further into your life to learn and grow would be very, very interesting, okay? Now, the actual check sheet says repeat step 1 with one more person. If you want to do 2, incredible. I'm only asking for you to do one person, but do one person thoroughly, okay? Do one person thoroughly, people. All right, so now we have a couple more. AJ says the people who build the plastic for the cans. Agreed. Isis says, this is an example from before, of course, for books. First, the wood must be cut. Then the wood processed by a machine to make it thinner. True. Then you have the ink. It's got to be made and sent to the company who uses it. The machines put words on the paper. Exactly. Then the pages are put together and you got to print. Then there's the cover. The wood is cut down, turned into cardboard, and shaped into a cover for the book. The writer thinks of an idea and writes it down and gets it published. Great example, Isis. You have broken it down into so many details. I love it. So there's the writer who thinks of the idea. He has an agent. He has a publisher. That publisher has a marketing team. But once that book has a form, it has to be produced. And it can't be produced without the wood, without the paper, without the machines, without the processing to create the hard book. Not to mention now we have ebooks. So you've got the whole computer, Amazon, ebooks, sort of Prime Video piece, and they'll be able to have a tablet in your house and to download that and be able to read it. So could I email this to you, please? You mean the assignment, Isis? I think I could, yes. You give me some time later today and I will do it once I get the, my associate will help me. Yes, I can email it to you, please. But I hope you took notes as well. So I will do that, right? So Madison says, all the people who work at Disneyland so that we can go and have fun at the parks. Well, isn't it going to be nice when everything reopens? Come on now, when everything reopens and we can go back to someplace like Disneyland and have that kind of fun. The people that build the park and rides, the people that run the rides, the people that work in the shops, the chefs at the restaurant, the people who clean the park, people who keep the park safe, the executives that run the park and make the important decisions. All great examples, Madison, and I totally agree with you. Amazing, you go to Disneyland and you just have your drink and you have your fries and you go and you enjoy the ride or you enjoy a show. But imagine all the different professions and all the little subunits that have to exist and perform effectively to make that available to you. And like you just said, then you have the executives at the top kind of looking at the overview and how well everything is functioning or not functioning to make sure it's improved upon or errors or problems in the flow or service are fixed so that when you go to the park, it's a nice, happy experience. You'll tell your friends you want to stay there throughout the day and you'll be willing to pay the money for the park itself. Okay, good. So yes, I'll email the homework, but again, just to review it, it's not complicated. Find an adult that you want to interview. father, mother, grandfather, they have a profession, they provide a service, they get a result, a product of some kind. Who are they? What do they do? What service or product do they produce? What things contribute to their need to get that product or service? In other words, what other jobs or what other people and what other services or what other products exist for them to be able to do that work? How do these things interrelate? The whole idea you're looking for is based on a profession that we haven't really talked about today or in earlier days. What is this profession? What does this person do? What's the service they produce? What do they exchange? What do they get back? And then what are all the other sort of jobs and professions and different things that they rely upon in order to get those results? So it's pretty simple, and I will do my best to email it to you. I will. Or I will provide it to my associate, Tikasia, and she will do it. Okay, well, so if you have any final thoughts, please share them with me now. We're a couple minutes early, so we're going to wrap up in the next minute or so. As a reminder, one, there's more webinars come today. I think Sterling is giving one on animals. Corey is giving one on writing. I think that Sterling starts at 1:30, if I'm not mistaken. If you missed any of my earlier webinars on Who Makes the World Run, or any of the earlier webinars from the amazing James and Marty on science or Corey on writing, if you missed one of the music seminars, webinars, you can go back onto our Delphian YouTube site, and you can pick up and see all of them there. They're just uploaded in time. So you got to search for them and find them, okay? So it's been really nice. I'm sorry that we're wrapping up this topic for the day. I hope to be back with you next Monday. As I said, I'll see if I'm on the schedule, and more importantly, I'll see if I've got something interesting to talk about. That'll be probably the most important thing that I can do. So thank you very much for your time today. I'm going to sign off, say goodbye to you here, and we're going to open up my other screen here. Goodbye for now.